Full here again, going to go to Game 3 of the Equinox tournament with Dark Elves, and with a win and a loss so far, I'm now up against a guy called Kyle with his Demons, and what I've done here is deployed very defensively all on one side of the table opposite this forest. So the plan here is to keep the forest between me and his army. I've got bolt throwers on either side here. I've got all the Cold Knights and chariots on the right hand side and the infantry in the middle. Really just waiting for him to come around the forest. There's a gap between two forests there where he can't really fit all of his troops that well, so I'm hoping to sort of just bog him down and bottleneck him, essentially. Sort of classic sort of strategy, and the shades are in the forest in the middle. Next photo will show you basically what the shades can actually see here. He's got his flesh hounds on one flank and all of his entry in the middle. So the plan is to move forward, shoot up the flesh hounds, move around the flank, and sort of hit him from two sides, really. If he decides to go around the forest to my right, he'll be really slowed down and take him ages, and I'll be able to fight him one at a time. If he goes around on the left, then I might even be able to bring my cavalry all the way around and sort of hit him from two directions. So that's the plan here. Next photo shows you the left-hand side flank where I've got Dark Riders and Harpies basically ready to move in and march block him, slow him down, redirect those flesh hounds coming through. He's deployed his horrors all the way over the left-hand side, out of range of all of my stuff, so really happy about that. The deployment's been quite good here, able to sort of really keep his magic and shooting at bay for a couple of turns to really keep my guys alive. And one thing I really didn't want to do this game was deploy all my stuff in the middle, move forward, and then sort of fight, his infantry blocks sort of in a big line, because he had 2 units of flesh hounds, a big unit of demonettes with a herald, a big unit of bloodletters with a herald, and big unit of 15 plague bearers with a herald. So there's no way I can really beat those units one-on-one with each of my units. The blackguard can take on one unit at a time, but really that's about it. So I had to sort of try and play defensively here, which I'm quite used to doing, really. Next photo, you've got an image of his army here. He's got the first turn here, just moving forward with his demonettes. This is before he finishes moving the rest of his guys, though, so I've just sort of taken the photo while he's pushing his guys forward. Got the flamers behind the demonettes. Now, the hard cap restrictions of the player pack in this tournament restricts you from taking more than 4 flamers. So because flamers are very powerful and you want to give the other armies a fair go, there's a restriction on them. Next picture, a bit of a better view of what he's doing here, just moving forward with everything he can. He's moved his flesh hounds around a little bit, planning on going around the forest that way. And Horror's really bringing up the rear. It's going to take him a while to get into range of any of their spells, so I'm quite liking that. Skipping his first couple of magic phases, really, while I shoot at him, which is really the plan here. Next photo, what I've done here is I've moved the Hydra into the woods, and he's moved his flesh hounds into the woods. I've got my shades right up against the flesh hounds to shoot at them. And again, making another blunder here with the Hydra. The plan here was to shoot at the flesh hounds, and then once the flesh hounds fled, charge the shades, so the shades would flee, and the flesh hounds would just move into the forest, and the Hydra would be fine, but just miscalculated it like an idiot as usual, and of course the flesh hounds would be in range to charge the Hydra, would clip them, and a fresh charge would be declared against the Hydra if the shades fled, so not very smart there. Going around the wood with the Cold Knights, basically got the chariot in a little gap there so it could actually move past the blackguard and actually attack anything the blackguard is in combat with, and keeping the harpies ready just to redirect something later on. Next picture, I've basically got the Hydra fighting against the flesh hounds. Managed to survive a couple of rounds of combat with them, doing damage to some of the flesh hounds, taking some wounds back. The shades fled away here and will rally later on, ready to get back into the action. Next photo, really doing a good job on the left-hand flank of keeping his flesh hounds, his other unit of flesh hounds away from the combat. Harpies basically can fly behind them. He'd move on to the hill in his turn. I'd been shooting at him, so it's just a simple matter of moving the Harpies elsewhere, moving the Dark Riders out of line of sight of the flesh hounds and continuing to shoot at them. So really doing well on the left-hand flank. It's just a matter of time before the middle of his army comes crushing through and assaults my defensive position. Next photo, he continues to move forward. Basically, he's decided to turn his plague bearers around just because he felt like he wouldn't actually have enough space to get all 3 units through, around, and in combat. So for some reason, he's moved his plague bearers behind. Worried about my Cold Knights coming around all the way around the back and hitting his bloodletters in the back. He thinks that might be a possibility. So turning around his plague bearers and leaving his demonettes and bloodletters to just move forward and attack me. Sorry about the blurry photo, guys, but here's a better photo. As you can see here, I've got the Goblin Knights moving all the way around the side, as well as the Dark Riders moving around to start shooting. I've got my repeated crossbows on the hill there, shooting away at his, whatever, his demonettes. And the Hydra's still in combat with the Fleshhounds. Horrible, horrible combat. Eventually I will lose, and lose the ability to actually flank charge the Bloodletters with the Hydra, which is what I was hoping to do later on. And yeah, I mean, the Harpy's way in the background of March blocking all three of his units, so hopefully distracting the Flamers as well. Rather the Flamers just went chasing after the Harpies or shot at them, rather than shooting at my repeated crossbows or my Spearman unit. Oh yeah, I got a Black Horror off on his Bloodletters, and I realised his Bloodletters were strength 5. They're not strength 3 with great weapons, because they don't have great weapons, they're just strength 5 naturally. So I should have done the Black Horror on the Demonettes, another big blunder. Just, a rookie Dark Elf player. Next photo, you can't really see so much different, basically just the same photo of the same position. You can see here that I've got the Sorceress and the big unit of Spearmen, hacking away at them whenever she wants to cast a spell. He does have the great standard of Sundering in play, so that makes it a lot harder for me to get the spells off that I want to get off. I have to throw more dice at them in general. He didn't have any Dispel Scrolls or Spellbreakers, as you call them in Demon's List, so that made it a little bit easier to get spells off. Actually, no, he had one. Next photo, nothing really new. His Demonettes are coming further forward. Really wants to get into a position where he can charge 2 units at once with Demonettes and Bloodletters, so that's what's going on here. We're going to skip to the next photo again, where you can see his Fleshhounds moving forward. I've got the Dark Riders ready to actually start shooting at them. I've taken 3 wounds so far, so one model's been removed and 1 wound on the Fleshhounds. The Horrors still bringing up the rear. They're not really going to get into range to do anything serious, so I've managed to play that well enough. And the Harpies in the background there, just trying to annoy them as much as possible. Next photo, here's a better picture. It shows you the overview of what's going on here. Hydra's still in combat with Fleshhounds in the forest. Got the big unit of Demonettes moving forward. Just a comment about this guy's bases. He's got these circular models in the square bases because he's a 40k player. He uses these models for both 40k and fantasy, which is quite a clever thing to do. So that's the reason for that here. But really just waiting for him to move forward, and the inevitable combat in the last 2 turns of the game with the Bloodletters and the Demonettes. We'll see how that goes soon. Next photo, what's happened here is the Fleshhounds have finally beaten the Hydra, have moved forward, and have actually hit the Blackguard in the flank in his turn as an overrun or something like that, or a fleet pursuit. And this enables me to hit him on the side with the Hydra, sorry, not the Hydra, the Cold One Chariot, and eliminate these Fleshhounds. So it's basically Fleshhounds swapped for Hydra. I would have preferred to just wipe out his Fleshhounds and keep the Hydra. I felt like I had the opportunity to do that, but didn't really capitalize on it well enough. Next photo shows you the Cold Knights moving all the way around here. So he turns around his Plague Bearers to face them. There's no way I'm charging those Plague Bearers with the Cold Knights. I've got no command group in the Cold Knights. He's got, regen and ward saves and a character in that unit, so there's no way I'm moving in. Basically, the Cold Knights are there to capture Table Quarter and to make sure that his Plague Bearers aren't involved in any combats anywhere else, so that's basically the plan here. Next photo, what's happening here? The Assassin was originally in the Shades for some reason, possibly because I wanted to fight against the Fleshhounds with the Shades, with the Assassin. So the Assassin's just left the Shades and attacked the Fleshhounds along with the Chariot, so easy way of actually wiping out that unit once and for all, and making things easier for me later on. Next photo, that has been accomplished, so as you can see in the picture, the Fleshhounds are no more. But the other unit of Fleshhounds reduced to 3 models now moving around the side, ready to attack the Bolt Thrower. And finally, the Demonettes and Bloodletters are in range of the Blackguard, so we may see a combat there shortly. Next photo is Flamers are in fact chasing after my Harpies, taking the bait there. I'm really happy about that. Just didn't want his Flamers shooting against anything else because the Harpies I can afford to lose. I can't really afford to lose massive numbers of guys to Flamers, especially with panic checks. Next photo, the Shades have moved to the edge of the forest to start shooting at the Bloodletters. Still no combat yet. Haven't really taken a picture of that. The Assassin has moved into the Blackguard to join them. The Assassin has actually, so the Blackguard have actually expanded their frontage so that they've got a bit of a wider amount of models to actually start attacking with. And the Chariot is setting up for a flank charge there. Next photo, the Harpies, again, moving around to the middle to try and march block everybody and, just, again, force the Flamers to do something other than shoot at the Dark Riders or the Colber Knights. Well, it doesn't force them to do that. I'm just tempting my opponent to try and do something like that. Next photo, finally the combat that we've all been waiting for. The Fleshhounds charge the Bolt Thrower and wipe it out. The Demonettes, in fact, charge the Blackguard in the flank, and the Bloodletters charge in the front. Now, I was okay with that because it meant that the Blackguard would stay there for a while. Then I could flank charge his Demonettes with my Spearmen and flank charge with the Cold Chariot and hopefully win some combats there. So let's talk you through what actually happened. This is the last photo of the game. The Assassin did pretty well. The BSDB did pretty well. I managed to wipe out all of the Bloodletters in the ensuing combat just by massacring them with the Assassin and the BSB. I eventually lost my Assassin. I got 1 wound on his Khorne Herald General, and I got 1 wound on his Demonette BSB. I lost, I think, nearly all of the Blackguard by the end, but the Spearmen came in the flank and destroyed at least half the Demonettes, and I did wipe out the Bloodletters. So with all of that, all the dust settling in the end, it actually turned out to be a draw. So well played to my opponent. I made a few blunders this game. I feel like I could have pulled up a win, but there you have it. Nice draw to end the game on. We'll see you for game 4.